Hey there, Synth Drones. Today we're going to do Synth Talk Tuesday. Hi, I'm Pure Ambient Drone, aka James Drone. Hit that subscribe button, tap that bell, keep up with all of my synth adventures. JamesDrone.com is the place to be. Keep up with me. Well, man, I am running out of space here. I've got an empty space up here. I'm going to be moving some things out of the studio. The System 8. I love the System 8. But I have gone back to my roots of an analog purist, or some people like to call them an analog snob. I really want to build a studio that is pure analog. And if that means getting rid of some synthesizers that doesn't meet that criteria, well, so be it. Because sometimes we have to say goodbye to synthesizers. As much as I love the System 8, for me, I don't need it anymore because I've got the analog vintage flavors that I want in my Juno 106 that's behind the screen, my Sequential 6-track, and I just recently acquired a Korg Poly 6. So I think that's enough vintage flavor for me. It's authentic analog. And like I said, I am an analog purist, and I mean, I'm not denying it. I mean, I am what I am, right? So we have to embrace who we are. So the Systemmates gonna leave, and probably these modules over here, I don't know, you probably can't see them off screen, but it's a Korg Radius, a Virus B, a System 1M. They present way too many choices for me when I'm trying to work on music and such, so some of that has to go. Now, what I am going to keep, and again, like I said, I'm an analog purist, right? So why would I keep this? But I want to keep the PX, because even though it is the synth engine and its internals are digital, it samples a lot of great stuff that 8D already has sampled, like the Prophet 5, to name one. And there's so many. But, the ARP 2600, all of those are analogs, and they sound really great coming through the PX. So I want to keep that. And, I haven't made up my mind about the Quantum. I love the Quantum. My problem with the Quantum is when I sit down to write any kind of music, I start twisting every knob in the world, and it's just way too much fun. So I may have to move it out of the studio and just make it a toy, because I never get any work done on it, right? I love it though, but I hardly ever use it on a track, and I don't know, I can't put my finger on why that is. But the Quantum really is its own beast, and it plays well with other Waldorf synthesizers. But in my experience, you have to dial in the right sound to get it to kind of work with other equipment. And that's just my experience, okay? I'm not trying to say anything bad about the Quantum or anything, because there's nothing bad to say about it in my book. I mean, every synthesizer has value. So yesterday's video dealt with Sequential discontinuing the Tempest, and a lot of the comments, not only on the video but on my social media, has mentioned that, well, that's it. They're going to come out with another drum machine. I don't know what they're coming out with. I've been asking them, what are you guys coming out with? But they're not telling, and I understand why. I'm hoping it's going to be a polyphonic analog synthesizer, and I don't even care if it's a remake of their P5, which, owning the P6, the Prophet 6, I don't think we need a Prophet 5 clone, but I know, I could see you guys just like flaming the comments right now, but the Prophet 6 is fantastic, and I have become less of a believer for clones, okay? As time goes by, we're talking about 10, 20, 30, 40 years, okay? The factories that made these machines in the old days, they're long gone or refitted. The same people are not there. The designers are not there. You can't put lightning back in the bottle once it's out. And so clones are great and they come close enough for most people, but I don't think that anybody needs to go back and make a Prophet 5 when we have the Prophet 6. The Prophet 6 is such a more powerful synthesizer. And now you guys may have your arguments on this, and that's fine, but I don't think I need a Prophet 5 now that I've got the Prophet 6. So you guys can argue that out politely in the comments. That would be cool. So what is it that we want from Sequential? I'll tell you what I want. You guys can tell me what you want in the comments also. That is, I want a P3 with at least 8-note polyphony. Even more would be better, okay? But 8 notes is good for me. I can deal with 8 notes. But I would like a Pro 3, and I don't want him taking anything away. I don't want him adding any digital oscillators or anything like that. I want it to stay pure analog as can be. And I'm hoping that he's going to deliver something that's going to be a polyphonic analog keyboard. Some people are saying it's going to be a module. I don't think it's going to be the module of the Pro 3, but I could be wrong. Now, if it is, then it's going to have more poly in it because he's already got 2 models of the Pro 3. He's got that deluxe model, and then he's got, the one that doesn't come up like this. So I don't think he's going to make a module of it, but I don't know. I really don't. And then again, he may come back and make something totally different. And it might be a drum machine. So it's anybody's guess. But what I'm hoping for is a Pro 3 with lots of polyphonics. And what I'm getting at, there was a Pro 2, and then he made the Prophet 12. And so they're similar machines, but there's differences in them, especially in the filters. So that's what I'm hoping for. We shall see. Gear lust, we all have gas, and I don't know. I'm gear lusting for the new sequential synthesizer that's supposed to arrive in August or September. That's what we just discussed here. But I don't even know what that is, and I'm lusting for it, right? Gear lust. I wouldn't mind having a Juno 6 with MIDI. That would be great. That would be awesome. I had considered a Jupiter 6, but the prices are outrageous. The cheapest I have seen a Jupiter 6 is $4,000. Now you're getting into Moog 1 8-voice territory. And I can just see these guys selling their Jupiters to buy a Moog 1. And that's probably what some of them are doing. I don't know. Maybe they just want the money. $4,000 for a synthesizer in today's market for vintage now, that's a lot of money. And I did a little bit of research, and if what I read is correct, the Jupiter 6 was about $7,000 of today's money. That's what it would have costed you, $7,000. Our day money, okay, back in the 80s. So it was listed around $3,000, and that's equivalent to a little over $7,000 in today's money. So right now they're going for $4,000, and that's over half of what they were going for new, 37 years ago. That's a lot of money. And it's a lot of money not because the synthesizer isn't a great synthesizer. It's a lot of money because, 1, it's an aging synthesizer. 2, it's got a lot of competition on the market now. There are synthesizers out now that are extremely powerful, and they're a lot cheaper than $4,000. And you can fill a room up with synthesizers today with $4,000 far quicker and easier than you could back in the 1980s. Still, none of the synthesizers that are out today quite sound like a Jupiter 6. But you can come close with a lot of stuff that's out there. Just my thoughts on the subject. But, I mean, if you look around my studio and you were standing in here with me, you would realize that, man, there isn't any more room. I'm struggling to find room for the Korg Poly 6. I've got a table back here off camera where the Moog 1 sits. And a lot of people always ask me, hey, which Moog, or do you still have the Moog 1? Yes, I do have the Moog 1, but it sits behind the camera. It's so big. It's a 40-pound synthesizer, and it's big, wide, and thick, and heavy, and it needs its own table. And at one time, I tried to take my little laptop stands. I did a video on these, by the way, and slide them up underneath and put another synth on top. But then, it takes away from the workflow of the Moog 1 because you need to be able to access all of those controls. So again, I'm running out of room. But I love the sound of the Poly 6. Now, I have a MIDI kit for it, and I'm going to attempt surgery on it, hopefully sometime this week. And if I do, I'll try to make a video of it. I get so nervous when the camera's running and I'm trying to do something inside the machine because I don't always know exactly what I'm doing. I'm kind of like a fly by my seat kind of guy, and I get in there and I'm being watched, even though I'm not. It's just, I know it's silly. I guess it's called stage fright or something. I don't know. So there isn't a whole lot going on with synthesizers right now, and I think a lot of the synth companies may be waiting for things to kind of level off a little bit. We're living in crazy times. Can anybody deny that? No. And, nobody knows what the economy is going to be like next year. We're hoping this sick thing's going to go away. But then they're saying, part 2 is coming. Then they're saying, no, it's not. It's dying away. So there's a lot of uncertainty about what's going on in the world right now. And hopefully we'll be able to look back, a couple of years from now or sooner and, go, whew, man, 2020 was a write-off. Let's move forward. Yeah, it's been a horrible start to the decade, hasn't it? It has for a lot of us, for all of us, really, in one way or another. So, going to be getting rid of some digital synthesizers. Systemmates looks like it's going to go bye-bye. Haven't made up my mind on the other stuff. I got to keep the Phantom, though. The Phantom is a workhorse. It's the center of my studio. And the question I get a lot of times is, how does it stack up against analog? Okay, so I'm going to let the cat out of the bag here a little bit. When I want to judge how good a synthesizer sounds, I don't put headphones on because that could be misleading, just playing it and then playing it next to another. That can help, don't get me wrong. You can take one synth and play it and then play another one next to it or blend them together. But what really matters to me is when I record it into my DAW and listen back with other synthesizers or multi-track that one synth. Sometimes multi-tracking a synthesizer over itself with, of course, different sounds. And also against other synthesizers will give you a good feel for how well the synthesizer is translating into music. And my personal opinion is that I don't always like the Phantom and how it translates into a track, especially when it's all by itself or up against real analog. That's just me, and it depends on how you use it, folks, okay? So I know there's people out there that own a Phantom. I own one. I paid a lot of money for it. I'm trying to be honest with you about how my experience goes with it. Not trying to flame anything here. But in my experience, if you use it certain ways, at times it won't translate properly. And it just depends on the combination of what synthesizers you're using. And all synthesizers suffer from that. Some synthesizers don't play nice with other synths. And then there are synthesizers that sometimes don't play nice. You have to find the right balance in your studio for your type of music and for your style and for your equipment where everything blends together and works great. And my problem is I keep tweaking it. I find something that works and then I say, I can make that better. I just got to buy more gear. And it is an addiction, right, guys? Because we see this stuff out on the market and we want to buy it. Okay, so that's about it for today. Tuesday Synth Talk. I guess that's what I could call it. I don't know. No promises on this, but if you guys like these Tuesday Synth Talks, let me know. I'll see if I can't pump out one on Tuesdays. I don't have much more to talk about. Oh, I do have one more thing to talk about. Wait a minute. Don't leave. Don't leave. I get this question a lot. What music distributor do you use for your music? And I seen a post about this. Man, I try to stay off of these subjects because I don't want to get like a war going, because people use a variety and everybody has a different experience. So I can only tell you about my experience. Okay. So I started out with CD Baby, and then I seen DistroKid, and it was like, $19.95 or whatever, $20 a year. So I jumped over to them and I dropped CD Baby. Well, a year later, I got a huge fat check from CD Baby, a big check. And I got it because of royalties and licensing and things that were owed to me, where people had picked up my music and I guess used it in some kind of a movie or a television show or something. But I got royalties for that. And I was struggling to make any money with DistroKid. So this is my experience. So I continued to give DistroKid a chance for quite a while. And I started moving half my music over there and half my music to CD Baby. In my experience, CD Baby has always outperformed DistroKid. Now, CD Baby's paying me nothing to say this. I'm getting no endorsements for it, no advertisement. They're not sponsoring my channel. And I'm not angry with DistroKid or anything like that. I'm just telling you that I make a lot more money with CD Baby, and with fewer titles. Okay, I was making more money with CD Baby than I was with DistroKid. And I don't use any other, I do have one title on a place called JTV Digital, and it's my first title I ever released. And I'm not moving it because it's doing really good there. It's doing fantastic, and I don't want to mess with it. It would probably do better over at CD Baby. I don't know. But right now it's doing really good, so I don't want to mess with that. So when people ask me, who do you use as a music distributor? CD Baby is it. I've taken all my stuff off of DistroKid and moved everything over to CD Baby, except for my first title, which is still with JTV Digital. So that was one of the questions I get a lot in my social media inboxes. So anyways, until next time, hey, give this video a like and give it a share and subscribe, and join me at jamesdrone.com. I got some synth patches over there. My music can be found over there, and my connection to my media is there too. And until next time, keep calm and synth on.